Ever wondered what would happen if the GOAT of Chicago drill, Chief Keef, was charged for all of his alleged crimes? Well, after several hours of looking through court files, indictments, and arrest records, one thing's for damn sure. He would be locked up for quite a while. So today, I'll be ranking all of Chief Keef's alleged crimes, from petty misdemeanors to major felonies, to see just how long the drill pioneer would be behind bars. Let's start with one of the latest arrests of Chief Keef, aka Keith Farrell Cozart. In June 2017, Chief Keef got arrested after airport security in South Dakota found edibles and blunts in his bag. During his hearing the following Friday, Keef pled no contest to possession of controlled substance, a Class 5 felony that is punishable with up to 5 years in prison, especially because he was already arrested a couple times before for smoking weed in public. About 12 years ago in 2013, Keef was followed by a police car in Chicago for driving 110 in a 55 miles an hour zone in his 2011 BMW X6M. This wasn't Sosa's only offense, as the rapper's permit only allows him to have one passenger, yet there were 3 other people in his car. At the time, Chief Keef was just 17 years old, but still, reckless driving in Illinois can result in a fine of up to $2,500 and up to 364 days in jail. However, if reckless driving escalates to fleeing the police, it's classified as a Class 4 felony, carrying a potential prison sentence of up to 3 years. Combined, this incident could result in a lengthy sentence, especially if the court viewed him as a repeat offender. Sosa being on probation for his crimes isn't a secret, but what's even less surprising is that he's broken those probation terms more than once. In 2013, Chief Keef landed himself back in trouble after testing positive for marijuana, a clear violation of the court's orders. Despite multiple warnings to stay clean, Keef's lifestyle caught up with him, resulting in a 20-day jail sentence. Lucky for him, good behavior led to an early release. But this wasn't his first brush with probation trouble. Just a year earlier, in 2012, while still on probation, he had a now infamous video interview at a gun range, firing a weapon on camera. What he didn't realize that this act was illegal, directly breaching the conditions of his probation. The courts didn't let it slide either, sentencing him to 60 days in a juvenile detention facility. Not long before the first drug charge in April 2017, Chief Keef was arrested in Miami for driving under the influence. When the cops stopped him, they found codeine and weed in his car. The arrest report noted that Chief Keef failed a sobriety test and looked visibly high. Now, a DUI is already bad news, but when you throw in drugs like that, it takes it to a whole new level. A first-time DUI in Florida can get you up to 6 months in jail, plus fines and community service. However, the possession of illegal drugs and previous drug charges could have added up to 5 more years to his sentence. Next up, we actually got Chief Keef's first documented run-in with the law happening at just 15 years old on January 27, 2011. While the full details of the case are not available, the charges suggest that young Sosa was either caught actually cooking up in a trap house or in the middle of distributing what was already produced there. Whatever the exact circumstances, Keef was arrested and charged with the manufacture and delivery of heroin near a school, public housing building, or park, a really serious offense classified as a Class X felony. Under Illinois law, a Class X is one of the most severe charges, carrying a minimum sentence of 6 to 30 years in prison if convicted. Alright, buckle up, cause now we're getting into the big ones. Since his move to Los Angeles, Chief Keef stayed out of trouble for almost 3 years and had 0 run-ins with the law. But in January 2017, Chief Keef made headlines again for the allegation of violent home invasions targeting his former producer, Ramsey the Great. According to Ramsey, Sosa and several friends of his broke into his home armed with AK-47s and robbed him at gunpoint. The group also allegedly attacked the producer, leaving him injured, and then robbed him of his cash, jewelry, and other possessions. The incident quickly escalated beyond personal drama. Ramsey took to social media to share pictures of his injuries and accused Chief Keef directly, saying, "This is who y'all support. This is who y'all think is a role model. Under California law, home invasion robbery is considered a severe felony. If convicted, Keef could have faced more than 20 years for armed robbery with additional time for assault charges. Combined with his history of legal trouble, this case could have easily landed him behind bars for decades. But it only gets worse for him from here. Right after his second arrest on December 2nd, 2011, nearly a year after, police responded to reports of shots fired in the 6100 block of South Indiana Avenue. When officers arrived, they spotted a 16-year-old Chief Keef exiting his grandmother's apartment complex nearby, holding a coat over his hands near his waistband, a move that immediately raised suspicion. When the officers attempted to question him, Sosa dropped the coat, flashed a handgun, and ran through a vacant lot near the apartments. As the cops pursued him, Keef allegedly turned back multiple times and pointed the gun in their direction. This prompted the officers to draw their own weapons and fire at him, though they missed every shot. Despite the gunshots, Sosa kept running but was eventually cornered and handcuffed in an alley just half a block away. During the chase, Chief Keef reportedly ditched his weapon, but officers quickly recovered the loaded pistol. He was charged with 4 felonies, including 3 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm on a police officer and an aggravated unlawful use of a weapon, along with a misdemeanor for resisting arrest. Not only could this have cost him his life, but the charges he faced were severe enough to cost him decades behind bars if he had been tried as an adult. Let's break it down. Aggravated assault with a firearm on a police officer is a Class X felony in Illinois, carrying a mandatory sentence of up to 30 years per count. With 3 counts stacked against him, Keef was looking at a minimum of 18 years and up to 90 years in prison just for the assault charges. Adding to that, aggravated unlawful use of a weapon is a Class 4 felony in Illinois and punishable by up to 3 years in prison. This misdemeanor charge for resisting arrest, carrying a penalty of up to 1 year in jail, would have been the least of his worries. The final incident I'm going to cover wasn't a direct arrest, but one of the most infamous investigations tied to Chief Keef, the tragic murder of his rival, Lil Jojo. For those who don't know, Chief Keef and his crew, GBE, Glory Boys Entertainment, were locked in a heated beef with Lil Jojo and his gang. Jojo was a rising rapper from a rival neighborhood. Just days before Jojo's death, a video went viral showing Chief Keef's close friend, Lil Reese, threatening to kill Jojo after he drove through their neighborhood, taunting them. Later that same week, tragedy struck. Lil Jojo was shot and killed while riding his bike, and only a day after, Sosa kinda self-snitched on himself by tweeting, "It's sad cause Jojo just wanna be like us, #LMAO. That tweet was seen by many as blatant mockery. Despite the self-snitching on social media, no charges were ever filed against Chief Keef. He later claimed his account had been hacked, though Jojo's brother publicly rejected that explanation. To this day, the murder of Lil Jojo remains unsolved. However, there are many theories on Reddit claiming that Sosa allegedly only drove the car while Lil Reese did the actual shooting. I guess we'll never really know what happened on this day, but if the alleged roles of Keef and Reese are proven true, and Keef was charged as the getaway driver, he could have faced a minimum of 20 years in prison under Illinois' felony murder law. The maximum sentence for his role, even without pulling the trigger, could have been 60 years to life due to the severity of the crime and its gang-related nature. So, in conclusion, Chief Keef racks up a total prison sentence of 218 years. But lucky for his fans, this is all hypothetical, and he doesn't need to worry about dropping the soap anytime soon.
Hey yo, what the fuck?